Good morning, folks. Welcome. Let us continue with our mimer, with our Hasidic discourse. Basi Lagani. God says, I've come to my garden, to my bridal path. This is the discourse that the Rebbe said, which solidified, if you will, or made clear and open the Rebbe's acceptance of leadership after the passing of his father-in-law. And it's based on the teachings of his father-in-law, of Basi Lagani. So God says, I've come to my place where I was originally, but as God created the world, Garden of Eden, with Adam and Eve, but then through the sin of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and thereafter, generation after generation, that God is removed from this world, and not just from the physical world, but spiritual worlds level by level, until came Avraham, or sorry, no, actually, came Avraham, it's true, the first. And he brought from the seventh heaven to the sixth heaven, Yitzhak, Isaac from the sixth to the fifth, Yaakov from the fifth to the fourth, all the way to finally Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses. He brought the Shekhinah down into this physical world. How does he bring it into this physical world? The divine presence of God. God did it himself by Mount Sinai. But then he commanded us, so we need to do that. How do we do that? By making the Mishkan. Asuli mikdav v'shechanti b'seicham, make for me a sanctuary, and I will dwell amongst them, meaning each and every single one of us. He will dwell by us making this the sanctuary, the Mishkan, the tabernacle, or the mikdash. Both are interchangeable. The mikdash meaning the holy temple. And we understand this in the function of the Mishkan. The main function of the Mishkan, the Mikdash, was the offerings. The offerings brought on the temple, on the altar, rather, right? And the point of the offerings is to bring us close to God. The animal in us is represented in the animal on the altar, that we are bringing close. We don't need to bring close our godly soul, because it is close. It is close with God. But the animal within me, that's a different story. So that I need to bring close, and all of its qualities and its powers to bring close to God by offering it on the altar, that my mundane animal character also is part of the divine service, my divine service. And this is further exemplified by the very building of the Mishkan itself, as the main part of the building was the krushim, which are the planks. The planks were made from atzei shitim, wood, acacia wood is the literal translation, but shitim. So we have here the word kerish, which means planks, spelled is the same letters as the word sheker, falsehood. So the sanctuary of God is taking the falsehood of the world and to transform it into a sanctuary for God. How? Well, by taking the shitim. The shitim comes from the word shtus, which means folly, foolishness. The counsel of foolishness, which I'd say is means uh, wood, but also comes from like Eitzah, which means counsel, foolish counsel of the animal soul, and that which is a lie, sheker, and we have to transform it and to make it into a sanctuary for God. And the mainstay of the sanctuary is these planks. They are what are firmly planted on the ground and hold up the ceiling above. Um, in other words, holding up heaven and earth, right? Bringing down heaven on earth, bringing in from the foolishness of the animal soul to transform it into a an edifice of God, to transform it into an edifice of God, a home for God. Wow, very powerful. And this is done. Every Jew has their job in creating that reality that in our lives. That's why the Jewish people are called God's army. So the word tzivos Hashem, God's army, literally means a soldier. The word tzivah, but also means it also comes from the word of time. 1 second. A limited time. Tzva le'enosh ale aretz. I don't know where the verse is from, but there's a verse bringing out that idea. And the third thing that the word tzava means is in Hebrew, like tzeva. Tzeva means color. So it's color, integration of many colors that makes something beautiful. It makes something beautiful. So, which means that the soldier that we are in God's army, right, is which in God's army, we we wage a battle. So the battle is in a limited time to bring an inclusionary to be inclusionary, because that's what many colors, when they come together in a beautiful picture, is, you see how the different colors add to each other. So that's what it means to be a soldier. Right? Then we continue with this thought. And so we're talking about that each and everyone's a battle. So we understand that the battle is the lie of the world, that we need to transform it. The lie of my animal soul, that I need to bring that closer to God. Right? Therein lies the battle. So in order to win this battle, right? Well, think about it. The lie of the world is really strong. It's powerful. It's relentless. It's so powerful that we could, and actually in TRC last night, we talked about this. It was actually a very good conversation. That the lie of the world is so powerful that we could have self-doubt. We could doubt the truth of our mission, accomplishing the mission, even believing in the mission. What? We're going to bring final redemption. We're going to conquer the lie of the world that, that might is right, that that self-fulfillment is not what life is all about, rather than, I'm here to be served rather than I'm here to serve. And it's a battle. And if you look out there, it doesn't look like, you know, that we're doing so well. Think about it. Yeah, yeah. It looks like it can't. Well, it doesn't look like to me, but definitely to the naked eye, that hey, it's a losing proposition. Well, it's crazy. It's a jungle, and we want to make a garden. We want to create a garden for God. Whoa, yeah, absolutely, no question about it. But in order to win that battle, you know what the king does? He's got a storage house, a heavenly storage house that he is just opening up. All of the wares from above, all of the stuff to give us everything we need to fight this battle. Think about it for a moment. To win the battle for a king, there's nothing more important. There's nothing more valuable. Nothing more valuable to the king than to win the battle. Because without winning the battle, what's the point? To have a kingdom. For God, there's nothing more valuable that good should prevail over evil, a light should prevail over darkness. So he opens up the treasure chests, the heavenly treasure chests, to give us everything that we need to win the battle. And the greater you are, the more he gives you. In other words, the more that you are ready to fight the battle, the more you're given. The more you're ready to kind of like, succumb to the enemy from within, the enemy from without. This is just too big, this is just too much, right? It's too much to overcome. Too much, anti-Semitism. There's just too much hatred. There's too much negativity in the world. Not just anti-Semitism, just hatred, period. There's too much of all of this. That person who then has self-doubt, doubt in the mission, doubt in and what you're here for, they're not given so much, right? You're not investing in a soldier that, may desert the army. But the more the one is believing, the more the one is with an attitude of victory. Yeah. Victory over yourself, victory over the negativity of the world that you encounter. The more you are that kind of soldier, the more power you're given from heaven. All right. Whoa, this is heavy. This is heavy duty. More to come. Wow. Very powerful. Yeah, so just a recognition that we are soldiers in God's army. We're here with the light of Torah. And that the more we, I guess, believe in the mission, more power we're given, more ammunition we're given, that we can overcome ourselves, overcome that which we're confronted with, and that, yes, we can transform the lie into a kaddish, into a sanctuary and a home for God. Yeah, there's no doubt, no doubt, and no place for self-doubt as a result. Even though it's very easy to have self-doubt, but this is, wow.